Hello everyone, it's Monday. So today, and for the next 3 days, today included, I am going to be sharing with you some short stories that I wrote, and I'll explain why I'm doing that right now. So some of you may remember a few weeks ago I talked about Michelle Hallowell's book, The Butterfly Miracle. Well, I follow her on Twitter, and she tweeted about 2 weeks ago, "Someone give me a topic and a feeling, then I will write a one-page story by hand." And I felt inspired by this as a means of getting myself to write a little bit more. So I tweeted out something rather similar last week where I said for people to tweet me a topic and a feeling. I would then write a short story about it and then make a video of myself reading that story and post it on my YouTube channel. And the great Michelle Hallowell came back with some absolutely interesting suggestions. So over the next 3 days, including today, you're going to hear me read these particular short stories. Might I add, these are all from suggestions from Michelle. So thank you, Michelle. You should all go follow her on Twitter at Michelle Hallowell. Check out her book again, The Butterfly Miracle. It's available on Amazon, Kindle, I think, and it's up for free right now until Wednesday. So if you want to get a chance to look at it while it's free, go ahead and check that out. Okay, so the first story that I wrote, the first topic and the first feeling was a happy funeral. So here is the story called The Happy Funeral. He had come a long way, through many twists and turns, ups and downs, moments of doubt and success. As he sat in the small, quiet waiting room, twiddling his thumbs in anticipation, a feeling of euphoric joy enveloped him. It had been a journey, which he thankfully was not traversing alone, but with the help of many, many people who wanted him to become the best version of himself. It seemed like a long time before the door to the office opened, his mother stepping out. "You can come in now, Arthur," she said with care and love. He stood up from his chair and walked to the door, passing in front of his mother and making his way over to one of the two large green upholstered chairs against the far wall. A small table with a lamp in the center of it separated them. His mother shut the door and joined him in the other chair as a man in a black leather desk chair swung around to face them. "Your mother had a lot of positive things to say about you this last month, Arthur," the man said in a soothing and calm voice. He smiled at the boy, who returned the favor. "I was telling Dr. Rhodes how helpful you were around the house with your sister this week, and how well you've been responding to some of the things we talked about you can do when you get angry," his mother said. "How do you feel, Arthur?" Dr. Rhodes asked. The boy sat in the chair and looked up at the fluorescent lights on the ceiling, then over to the far wall where a painting of a boy on a fishing pier hung. He then looked at the floor. "Like I've been reborn," the boy answered. "Like somehow the old me died and this new me was born out of that old me. Almost like the phoenix in Harry Potter, reborn from the ashes." Dr. Rhodes reached around to a drawer at his desk, pulled it open, and removed a small envelope from it. He held it in front of him so the boy and his mother could see it. "Do you remember this, Arthur?" he asked. The boy nodded and smiled. "I do. You gave that to me on my first visit here," the boy responded. Dr. Rhodes opened the envelope, revealing a folded piece of paper. Removing the paper, he unfolded it, lifted his reading glasses to his eyes, and read the following. "My name is Arthur. I am a 13-year-old, and I would like to not be so mad at the world anymore. I would like to love myself more and know that my family loves me. I would like to not get mad at small things and be a better brother to my sister." Dr. Rhodes folded the paper and placed it back in the envelope. "You wrote those words 3 years ago. And now here we are, our last possible meeting together, celebrating a huge accomplishment in your life, the birth of a new you." Dr. Rhodes and the boy's mother smiled. "I'm so proud of you, Arthur," the boy's mother said with tears welling up in her eyes. She ran a caring hand across the boy's cheeks and chin. Dr. Rhodes stood up from his large black leather desk chair and crossed the room, opening the bottom drawer to a filing cabinet. Bending down, he removed a medium-sized storage container and set it in the middle of the room. After closing the drawer, he opened the container and invited the boy and his mother to join him in standing around it. Looking inside, the container was filled, right to the brim, with dirt. A small trowel sat neatly off to one side. A tradition that I do with many of those I help with overcoming similar problems in their life, such as yours, Arthur, are that I allow them to have a funeral for their old selves, so that this new person they become knows that their old self is gone and buried. "Would you mind burying this envelope in the dirt?" Dr. Rhodes asked. The boy looked from the dirt to the envelope in Dr. Rhodes' hand. He carefully took the envelope, knelt down on the floor, and picked up the trowel. As he started digging, he was overcome with a sense of peace and serenity. He was no longer tied down to these old ways. For now, he had a means to make himself better and to be a better person for his family. He placed the envelope in the hole he dug and began to cover it with the dirt he removed previously. When he was done and the envelope was completely buried, he placed the trowel back where it had been and stood up. The three stood there in silence for a while before Dr. Rhodes asked the boy if he had any final words to say before he put the container back. The boy thought for a moment, staring down at the dirt, almost wanting to go back and remove what he had buried. But he didn't. He took a deep breath and then let it out slowly. "I can say," he began, "without a doubt, that this is certainly the happiest funeral I've ever attended." Dr. Rhodes and the boy's mother smiled warmly before the container was closed up and put back into the filing cabinet drawer, awaiting the next person who so desired to be radically transformed and take that one step closer to becoming the best version of themselves. And that's the happy funeral. Thank you again to Michelle for that suggestion. She's the one who suggested all of these, if I didn't mention that earlier in the video. Tomorrow, I'll do the next one, and it's going to look I'm going to look exactly like this because I'm just going to film it right now. So I will see all of you tomorrow with the next story from Twitter. Take care and God bless.